This is a triumph oil in the frame I'm starting to do a hardtail on. First thing I've done is I've removed these brackets from here for the rear pegs, and as you can see I've taken the weld down on that side. It's still to be done on this side, and we're leaving these rear engine mounting brackets on because they are quite handy for lining up the engine and everything else, and to do something different there is just a pain in the arse, to be honest. I've suggested to Chris, whose frame this is, Chris down in London, that we're going to cut out this section here as marked with the yellow paint. That's up to him. There's already a leak. You can see the old tatty weld in here, so it makes sense just to remove that and put in a nice curved piece of section there, weld it in. Right, we've removed the back section of the original frame, and this frame is going to have a 3-inch stretch on it. Don't know if you can see that there. It's approximately 3-inch, and it's going to be 2 inches higher as well. Sorry, 2 inches lower. That'll be 2 inches higher on the jig, but it makes it 2 inches lower on the road. And we'll start putting a mock hardtail on it now, just to see how things are looking, what lines it's getting, and I'll put that in the next clip. So here it is side on, a couple of rulers in place just to give me a rough idea of the line. It's sitting not bad. You'll never get a straight line with the Triumph oil in the frame because of the angle of the top tank tube, but that's looking good. We'll now start knocking up the hardtail. As you can see here, the owner, Chris, has allowed me to cut this bit out because it will improve it. So we've just burned that piece out and we've cleaned it up, and the important thing here is to actually give this edge a V-prep, so that when we weld the piece back in again, we can grind it down, grind the weld down and make it look nice and flush, and you shouldn't notice it's been fitted. I've basically put a bit of card over there and just pressed hard down with my thumb to take the impression. You can see there it's raised out on the actual piece of paper, and we'll cut that out and transfer it to a sheet of paper, a sheet of steel, and bend that up, give it a V-prep and weld it in place. The burn edge was just cleaned up using one of these at the end of a drill, a burr basically, make sure it's of good quality, and that took all the slag off of the surface, and then I used a grinder just to V-prep it. I burnt this out, but you could just as easy grind it out, and I'll take another video showing you it welded in place. Just thought I'd quickly show you this, and you see here I've rolled it from a sheet of paper. It's a sheet of, you can see here I've rolled it from a sheet of steel and just basically hammered it over. I've not used any fancy tools or rolls, just used this, which I use in the blacksmithing quite a lot, fitting in the anvil, but I put it in my vise. I just call it a fork, and make these different sizes for different jobs, and battered it over with a rubber mallet. And as you can see there, cut this out and V-prep it and weld it in place. Okay, so here's the cap all ground into shape and ready to weld. Just showing you the penetration inside. Hopefully the camera is going to pick that up. Try to work with a torch here as well as the looking at the camera. But yep, hopefully you can pick that up. There's the penetration inside. So that's what allows you to buff the outside nice and flush. Nice and smooth. Might need another wee weld just about there. I can see a couple of wee divots in the welds, but apart from that it seems to have sealed up quite well. Okay, back to the frame itself now. Okay, here's it sort of semi-complete. We're going to be making up a wee springy seat for it as well, and a battery box for it. But just to let you see the rough lines of it. I'm making up a battery box as well for this Triumph oil in the frame. Cardboard mock-up here of it. I'll put in some stills of it sitting into the bike. Well worth making a cardboard mock-up because you can check everything fits. It will clear all the sizes of the bikes, the chain and everything else. And here you see a couple of sides and that made. And the lid will just be on here, be held in with 2 Allen bolts. And one of these dry cell batteries in the coil, plenty of room in there as you'll see for height. And the base I've made separate, and the reason for that is I can make up the fitting that attaches it to the frame and drill it so that it's all sitting nice and square. And then we'll go over to the bike here. And you'll see that makes sure that everything clears. And if you put on a square there, you'll see that it also clears the side here, which is very important. I'm also making up a seat base for this as well, a wee springy seat with a single shock absorber, so we'll show you that as well. And you can see how nice it looks now that the swinging arm mount has been removed. Very neat and tidy. I'll knock up the rest of this battery box and show you attached brackets for the sprung seat. This bit here gets bolted to, welded on up here. There's a slight chamfer all the way around it, just to get it a nice neat fit. This section here is about a 20mm bar, 3/4. It'll sit on there for the front mounting. It's bolted under the bottom. That's simply just to allow me to line it and make any wee tweaks to make sure the seat's straight. These will be welded to it. It's a 16mm hole that goes through it and bolt for attaching the front mounting. And I'll show you that all welded up. I've also done a single seat for this. This is the lug welded onto the frame for it, and there's the underneath of the seat base. And that just slots on there and down there, and there's how it final looks.